RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk. RTF Sports Talk.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to RTF Sports Talk. I am the host of the show, Michael Buckheiser. I am joined, as always, with Billy Hatton. Billy, how are you doing this morning?
Doing all right. Pretty good day to talk some sports.
And we're also joined here with Matthew Lyle. Matthew, how are you doing today?
Well, not so good, Mike. You know when you're younger and you find out that two of your buddies go off to a party that you always really wanted to go to, and you didn't get invited, and you just see it on social media. Well, that's how I felt about the show last night. So I'm a little salty right now, but we're gonna let that pass.
Hey, people were they were making you the life of the party, Matthew, even though you weren't there, son.
Yeah, they were asking for you, man. They told me that I should get you on tonight.
Well, I'm just saying, we'll see. We will see. I didn't even support. I didn't even listen. I didn't even tune in because I was like, nope, no solidarity here.
Hey, man, even Chris came through.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm done with this conversation. Let's get the show started. Done with all of this conversation.
Well, if you guys are wondering what Matthew Lyle is talking about, Mr. Billy Hatton did a live show last night. Kind of did a college recap show. As you guys know, we do a lot of college talking on Thursdays, and we decided to do a little recap show on Saturday night. And Billy, you were on the YouTube for what, like 2 hours or so last night?
Yeah, 2 hours. I could have used you, man.
Yeah, mean so. Yeah, so
likely. So you know what this is? This is that story when you get something for Christmas or your birthday, and it's like something you somewhat wanted, but then they're like, "Oh, I thought about getting you this, and that's what you really wanted." Like they get you a nice watch, but they're like, "I thought about getting you an Xbox, but I thought I'd get you this watch. I figured you'd wear it more." Like, I like the watch, thanks.
But I could use that Xbox.
Yeah, like I really wanted that Xbox. So that's all this is right now. I was going to get you this. I should have, no, that's all this is right now, and I'm having no part of it.
Well, Matt,
we wasn't expecting to be that way. I really didn't expect to turn out to be that way. Hey, and they told me to tell you that you only get 4 long responses per hour.
Who is this they? Now, first off, who is this they? Because I feel like I'm getting.
I think it was Travis Swift, I believe it was, and Brandon.
I feel like you guys are doing this thing to where you are telling me how you really feel, but there's an opportunity where I wasn't there.
No, I took up for you. I took up for you.
Yeah,
I took up for you. You know,
100%. Hey, Matthew, they were.
I'll take as long.
They were dogging me too, man. So don't feel bad about it.
Oh yeah, they was getting on Mike too.
I'll take as long as I want to answer anything ever. If they get that long, where's Travis and Billy Bob today?
Hey, and they
these convoluted answers.
And they said that you probably practice your responses to yourself in the shower. Hey, I took up for you though, man. Listen, if you watch the stream, I took up for you. I was like, nah, that's my guy, man. That's my guy.
Let's pump the brakes. It's not the shower. It's on the car ride home. I think about what I'm going to say. It's called preparation.
Right on, man. I took up for you, man. I said, you my boy. I said, Matthew's my guy, man. He good people.
Billy Bob should do this. Whoever these guys are, whoever these mysterious people are, maybe they should come forward, have them on the show today, and I will show them long answers, practice in the shower.
Well, speaking of long answers, Matthew, let's go ahead and get right into it. Today is our Week 9 NFL Pick'em, and we're going to start off with 5 games, kind of explaining our answers, that kind of thing, and then we'll jump into a quick Pick'em at the end here to wrap up the rest of the games. But today, Matthew, we're going to start with the Steelers versus the Ravens. Who do you got on this one and why?
So let me take you back to 1975.
Oh, sheesh.
These cats want these long answers. No, as much as I hate to say it, I feel like the Ravens a couple weeks ago. The Ravens were that team to beat. They beat the Steelers pretty handily in Pittsburgh, and all signs would say that it would happen again here in Baltimore. But I don't know, man. As much as I hate to say it, Pittsburgh seems to be finding its groove. Ben and there was the game against the Falcons. They kept making that stupid joke about Ben and Antonio Brown hooking up through Wi-Fi, syncing up, getting on the same connection. Well, that connection seems to be pretty strong right now. Juju's getting kind of in that second groove. He's not hitting that sophomore slump. And I feel like the line, James Conner's running really well, but I feel like the line takes pride in his success. There was that little rift, there was that little beef between Le'Veon and some of the linemen. And I think that this is the line's way of showing, look, Le'Veon, we're going to do this without you. So James Conner's doing great. I don't want that to be taken away from him. But I feel like in addition to his great running ability, the line is taking extra pride in making sure that this man has the hose to hit. Like I said, as much as I hate to say it, I feel like Pittsburgh kind of hit that corner. I got Pittsburgh winning, I'm going to say 27-17.
This helps my at least one of my division picks that the Steelers are now starting to hit that groove. I agree with Matthew. I think the Steelers have found that thing. Now we'll see. The Ravens did get Ty Montgomery. I'm not sure how much that will help out in this game today. But to Matthew's point, they said something about Wi-Fi. It may not be strong all the time, but it's always connected. And they've been connected. James Conner, to your point, I mentioned that about the offensive line a few weeks ago on Twitter, that it seemed like everything that James Conner do, this offensive line is like over-exaggerating like how good it is. And I think that has a lot to do with Le'Veon, because we're going to show you that we don't need you. We can make another 1,000-yard, 1,500-yard rusher. So I'm right there with you. I think the Baltimore Ravens have taken a tad bit of a step back, and that's the reason why they did trade for Montgomery. But I think the Steelers get the win in this one.
I think there's certain things, and I'm not going to say it's going to take effect today, because I think the Steelers and the Ravens are one of your genuine rivalries where they just don't like each other. But there's a couple divisions in sports, and especially in the NFL, the Patriots division and the Steelers division, where over the last decade, and maybe even in the Packers division, depending on how the Bears do, these teams have been so dominant that even when you're better than those teams, they're beating you mentally because you're already scared of them. And I think that's what's happened here in the AFC North. The Steelers they've had a grip on that division for so long that even with a slow start, now, like I said, I don't think it's going to go into too much effect today, but when they play the Bengals again, you saw it the last time. The first time the Browns played the Steelers, it was a tie, which was good for the Browns. Last time, it was kind of a blowout. So I think you're seeing that starting to unfold, where, yes, this good team in the Steelers is starting to hit their stride, but a lot of the teams in the division, I think, are just scared of them. I think you're going to see the thing in the next couple of years, you're going to see the Patriots. Even as the Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets start closing that gap, there's still going to be that fear factor that's going to always just keep the Patriots rolling. So I think we're going to start to see that as the season continues and winds down.
I think that's a good point. You get mentally worn down when you're always losing to a team. Like, dang, we can never just get over the hump. And I definitely agree with that point. The Steelers starting to be the big brother of that conference.
And are you listening, Dustin, or Bob, or whatever your name was? That's a good point, he said. He said I made a good point. That comes with preparation and words. Good point made. Thank you, Billy.
Preparation on the way
No
home.
problem, buddy.
All right, guys. Here, let's go ahead and move on to possibly the game of the week. In my eyes, you have the undefeated Rams traveling to the New Orleans Saints. Matthew Lau, who do you got on this one?
Last week really taught me that you can't count the Rams out. McVay's going to get going. Goff's going to get going. Gurley's going to get going. Donald's eventually going to start making weight. I don't know what kind of impact Fowler's going to come in and have immediately. It's hard for me to bet against the Rams. With that being said, there was a blueprint drawn up last week. The Packers showed you how you might be able to do it if you have the firepower, if you have the defense, if you have the quarterback. Here's what you could do. With the Rams having to go to New Orleans, you got a pretty solid defense. The travel's there. I would say the Saints have a substantially better run game than the Packers do. Drew Brees is up there with Aaron Rodgers. So I think this is going to be that kind of game. I think this is going to be – you see it a lot of times in sports with undefeated teams. Before they get that loss, they have that near loss. And I think this is where that's at. I'm going to go that the Saints find a way to end at the end. I got New Orleans winning, let's say, 24-21. I actually think you might see Jared Goff make a mistake down the stretch just because he hasn't been tested this season with that point. So I'm going to go New Orleans 24-21.
Stop making my point, man. Listen. I said last night that I was probably going to go Saints in this game, and I'm going to go Saints at home. That dome is going to be rocking down there in New Orleans. Undefeated Rams coming in, the big bag team of the NFC. I think the Saints get it done. I think Drew Brees have a 4th touchdown kind of day. This defense has really underperformed outside of Donald. Really, and Sue kind of, but Donald has really been the main guy. This defense has really underperformed. The secondary has been banged up. I understand that, but I think this is where Drew Brees and Michael Thomas and the guys, they take advantage of that. I also think that this could be good for the Rams because now there's no pressure to go undefeated anymore. You lose a game now. Now all we got to do is just buckle down and play football again. So I think this could be a blessing in disguise for the Rams that they lose this game instead of having the pressure of going undefeated like the Patriots did back in the day. Because when you go undefeated, there's only one expectation, and that's to win a Super Bowl. So now you lose a game. Okay, now we kind of dial back those expectations just a little bit. Now all the pressure's not on you. So I think the Saints win this game. And to your point, I do think that they're going to be down in a situation where Jared Goff is going to have to make a play. And it might that defense, Lattimore, these guys may just step up. Maybe Eli Apple, a guy who's been picked on a lot that they did get from New York. But I think the Saints come away a narrow victory, maybe by 6 points or something.
To further your point on that, you're absolutely right. It's tough to do, and you've seen it in all sports. Other than maybe Alabama, where it's so easy to keep 3 or 4 guys around for multiple years to go undefeated. The last team in the NFL to go undefeated was the 72 Dolphins. And even then, they didn't have to go 19-0. They only had to go 14-0. And there was no media. The Super Bowl wasn't the spectacle that it is today. There was no media that the moment you hit 6-0, 7-0, start saying, can they do it? There was no Freddie Mercury, or what was his name? Freddie Morris, sorry. Mercury Morris, that was it. Going around saying, don't call me when you're in my neighborhood. Don't call me when you're in my house. Call me when you whatever. There was none of that. So it was easier to go undefeated at times. But one of the greatest teams of all time, the 85 Bears, had 1 loss. And you see it all over sports, whether it be the Patriots, like you said, Billy, 07, went 18-0, lost that championship game. The Kentucky Wildcats, 2015, went 38-0, lost in the Final Four. Even though it's not undefeated, it's the closest thing to it. The Golden State Warriors set the best record in the NBA with 73-9. Still couldn't get the job done.
And they said it's mentally exhausting when you do that.
It is. Because there's every season in every sport, except college football, has a game that you can lose. Whether it be in the NFL, if you lose a Week 16 game to the worst team in the division, not a problem. If in college football you lose a late season conference road game, not a problem. NBA, in the last month of the season, you drop 3 out of 5 games, not a problem. But once you're chasing this record, those games that you typically wouldn't even care about now become as big as a Super Bowl in your mind because the fans and the media have hyped it up so much that every little game now becomes ridiculously huge. So I do think there's a big relief if the Rams do lose here. However, I do see this going 1-2 ways. Play a little bit of a devil's advocate here. Billy, if the Saints win, it will be close. If the Rams win, I think it'll be by 2 touchdowns. Because I think they're either going to come out a little shaken. The Saints have the blueprint and they beat them close, or McVay says, guys, look what happened. We're on this map for something huge here. Let's go out and win by 40, and they play really good. But
Yeah, I can very well see that happening.
Yeah, I don't see them getting blown out here. I see them losing by a field goal, losing on the last play, or winning big.
Alrighty, guys. I got those picks down for y'all. So moving on to the next one here, we have a undefeated at-home Panthers versus a kind of a deflated Buccaneers team. Matthew, who do you got on this one?
Look, this is why I think we work so well here, Billy, because you got those solid numbers. You got those written down. You got things that are going to echo facts. Numbers don't lie. I'm on gut feeling on this one. Yes, every number that I look at says that the Panthers are going to win this game. But it's magic, baby.
Fritz magic.
It's magic. On the road, when you don't expect it from him. Because we've not gotten to that point again this year. It's crazy we're going to see it twice in 1 year where you're like, Fitzmagic's starting quarterback. Get him starting quarterback money. We're not to that point yet, the second time. We're to the point where just don't look horrible. Go out there and lose, but lose with some dignity. That's what that's what the fan base is sending to Fitzmagic. So that's a Fitzmagic type game. You don't expect anything from me, so I'm going to give you something. You don't expect me to throw for 4 touchdowns and 350 yards? I'm going to do that. Now, next week and the week after he does this, it could be hideous. But I'm going Buccaneers on this one by 10.
First time we agree today. I do believe, like you, that Fitz will have a good game today. And I was on the Fitzmagic train before they even, they went back to Jameis. I said that they shouldn't have done that. Now they're back here. I haven't heard anything about Deshaun Jackson since Fitzpatrick has been named back the starting quarterback. So that should be good for the morale of the team. You want to have Deshaun Jackson at tip-top shape with his mind focused on football. Fitz is right there with Cam Newton as far as passing yards and passing touchdowns on the year. Fitzpatrick, 13 touchdowns. Cam Newton, 13 touchdowns. Fitzpatrick, 5 interceptions. Cam Newton, 4 interceptions. I think the problem, the difference in this game is going to be they're playing on the road. Carolina is 4-0 at home. Tampa Bay is 1-3 on the road. That is not a winning recipe when you're going into a game against a good defense. And a Cam Newton who's been kind of hot as of late. Not as far as like lighting it up stat-wise, but making the right decisions. For the first time in his career, he's over, I believe it is 65% completion percentage, the best of his career. I think they get it done today. Plus, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a few guys hurt. They got three guys are going to be out today. I'm taking Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers by 10.
All right, sit down, fans, real quick. Because here's one of my quote-unquote long-winded little things. NFL teams are like movies. Your Patriots, your top-notch team, the Rams this year, the Patriots are like Scarface or The Godfather. That is always just great. The Rams are like The Dark Knight. Newer, but it came out of nowhere. Man, was it a great movie. Then every year, there's just like in movies, there's certain teams that are the new Michael Bay Transformers. Your Falcons who go 15-1 and lose in the first round. This year, that is the Panthers to me are that summer blockbuster. That movie that, man, the trailer looked awesome. And, man, there's going to be parts in that film where you're like, did you see that? And there's going to be times you walk out that movie and be like, man, that scene had me amazed. But the more you watch that movie, you're like, this doesn't hold up. This doesn't make a lot of sense. Why are they doing that? That's not a good movie. It doesn't age well. And in my opinion, the Panthers are that summer blockbuster. They sold their tickets. They had their first opening week. They made a lot of money. But now that the real critics are out, I think you're going to start to see that movie like, ugh. you know what? Maybe Transformers 3 wasn't as good as we thought it was. And I think that's what you're going to see here. I think this is when it starts to unravel. It's hard for me to always bet on those teams that have those type of years. And Cam Newton is one of those directors. And in my opinion, Cam Newton is the Michael Bay of football. He's going to give you some explosions, but he's not going to give you a lot of substance. So I think it starts to unravel starting this week.
I just don't think that Tampa Bay's defense is playing really good right now. There's been a trend with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, and they have to score points. And if they don't score points, their defense is not good enough to get them a victory. Now, neither does the Carolina Panthers. They don't necessarily score a lot of points, but what they can do is they can control the clock with Cam running the ball, McCaffrey running the ball, and they can dibble and dabble in some of those pass plays in between. They are going to be down a receiver today. Torrey Smith is out today, so that's going to hurt them a little bit. But I think all that does is amplify Cam Newton. Him and Dak Prescott are kind of the same, where they have to get going running the ball in order to be feeling it to throw the ball. Torrey Smith being out, all they're going to do, Norv Turner, all he's going to do is have Cam Newton run a bunch of those design reads today, get him going, let him run somebody over, let him score a touchdown, give a football to a kid in the stands, and that's going to ignite him against that Tampa Bay defense. So I think Fitz is going to have to be perfect today. Not perfect, but perfect in order to beat the Panthers today, because they have to overcome that bad defense, whereas the Panthers' defense is already pretty solid, and they can kind of they don't have to rely on Cam as much, So that's why I think the Panthers win today. By no means do I think they're going to be in the Super Bowl. They may win one playoff game. They may get one at home. But by no means do I think they're going to get there and win it. But I think they could beat the Buccaneers today.
You make a lot of great points there, Billy, and I can't really argue with a lot of those because, as the old adage goes, defense wins championships. However, I think we're starting to see the tide turn that defense is just a matter of luck. It's starting to turn that way, and I don't mean to take anything away from any defensive-minded people out there. It's just with the rules, and it's going to get more and more each year, that you just got to get lucky. You just got to hope that you hit the quarterback the right way and it doesn't count, and that it's a fumble, that it's not a tucked rule in any manner, shape, or form, that it wasn't a catch, or that
defensive pass interference.
Yeah, or that the offense, if both the receiver and the cornerback go for the ball, if they both have equal possession, it goes to the offense. Well, you just got to hope that you have more than 51% of that possession. Good luck trying to figure that out. We're getting to the point, and I think games like this in the NFC South show you that defense doesn't win championships. It's the luckiest defenses. You saw it a little bit with the Vikings and the Saints game. Those were two. That was an offensive matchup. It was really sloppy, and some defenses just got the right balance. Now, a lot of people tell you, hey, that's talent. If you're a Saints fan, that's talent. Our defense is growing. But you've seen it enough. It's not. I mean, the Vikings won or got a tie, and not a loss, off a game where he got sacked wrong. The defensive back took, as the commercial said, he had an 18% chance of catching that pass. Adam Thielen to get in the overtime.
Mm-hmm.
The defense was just a hair out of position. And I think defense typically did win championships. Now it's just, can your defense get lucky? Super Bowl last year, that both teams were traveling up and down the field. One defense just got lucky and got to Tom Brady. Not taking anything away from that pass rush of the Eagles. It was great all year. But a second later, it's a touchdown. A second an inning slower, it's roughing the passer. So, yes, I think the Panthers this week does have the much better defense. But on a case-by-case basis, and the way they just sling the ball around, you just got to have the luckiest defense. You just got to have the guy in the right place. He's going to run a pick-six back. So I throw both those out the window. I'm just following my gut here. I feel like this is that type of win that the Buccaneers grab.
Yeah, I agree with that. Defense nowadays is it's all about luck. If the referee missed a call or something like that, you may get lucky. I definitely agree.
And just to echo some wise words, as a wise man once told me, don't be perfect, be clutch. So Cam Newton needs to be clutch today, not perfect. So just throwing it out there.
I never said that. I never said that. I don't know what wise man you're talking about.
And speaking of commercials, as Matthew alluded here, if you guys haven't seen the Michael Jordan commercial of this next game, feel free to go to YouTube and check it out. It's kind of a good little segue here. It's Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers, the GOAT versus the wannabe GOAT per se. So Matthew Lyle, Packers versus Patriots. Who do you got on this one?
So first off, that Jordan commercial was awesome because, Jordan hasn't been the media guy. The last 10 years, I don't even think he's done a Hanes commercial lately. So when I saw him on TV, I said, hold up, what is this? What is he talking about? And then I was like, is he talking about LeBron? And then I was like, no, it's too heavy-handed. He can't be just talking about LeBron. And then here popped up Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. So the commercial was amazing. But it was misleading. With the Patriots, and maybe it's the coaching, maybe it's the wisdom that comes with playing 18 years in the NFL. I feel like every time we get these games, Tom Brady versus insert great quarterback here, Josh McDaniel and Bill Belichick says, Tom, just relax. We're going to run for 500 yards today. I remember it was a couple of years ago, and I think it was the game that they had Jonas Gray. Everybody was like, oh, is it Luck? It was right after Peyton left. And it was the Colts versus the Patriots. It was Brady versus Luck. It was the GOAT now versus the GOAT of the future. And they ran all over the Colts. I don't even know if Tom Brady threw for 200 yards in that game. It didn't even look like it. It didn't even feel like he threw for 100. It was just handoff after handoff after handoff after rushing touchdown after rushing touchdown. I think that's what we're going to get here today. They got rid of Clinton Dix, so they're losing the safety. And I think they're just going to try to take advantage of the Packers' aggressiveness and speed on defense. I don't know how good Tom Brady's going to look because they built that offense. And I'm not making an excuse. I say this all the time when I see somebody saying, oh, Mr. Trubisky outplayed Tom Brady. New England has an offense that is fit for the way you do when you have a very accurate, very smart 40-year-old quarterback. You have just a bunch of smart concept routes from the line of scrimmage to 5 yards. And then you let the receivers and the running backs do everything else. I don't think we're going to get that hype. I don't think it's going to be Tom Brady throwing for 450 yards, Aaron Rodgers throwing for 520, even though Aaron Rodgers may throw for 520. I think the Patriots are going to do everything else. Special teams. I think you're going to see the defense flying around. They're going to try to take away Aaron Jones. They know they don't have Montgomery back there anymore. They're going to try to double team their best receiver and then put their best corner on maybe, is it Adams? Is it going to be Cobb? Who's going to be there? Graham might have a big game, but I think you're going to see the Patriots win it, Patriots win it any way but with Tom Brady, and I don't think it's going to be close. I'm going to go 34-17 Patriots.
I do agree with one of your points, and that is, and I mentioned this about Tom Brady a few times, and I like the fact that he don't have to throw the ball 50 times a game to be great. Tom Brady just wants to win. At the end of the day, I don't care about stats. I care about winning. And Tom Brady, if you need me to hand the ball off 50 times to Lawrence Maroney, guess what I'm going to do? Hand the ball off 50 times to Lawrence Maroney. If you need me to dump 55,000 screen passes to James White, guess what I'm going to do? If that's going to get us the win, that's what Tom Brady does. Unlike a lot of these other quarterbacks, the Drew Brees, the Peyton Mannings, the Aaron Rodgers. Not saying that they pass stats, but in their offense is going to be pass heavy. Pass heavy. We're going to sprinkle in a little bit of run in there just so we can probably get this play action pass off. But it's going to be mainly the quarterback doing everything. So I do agree on that point. But I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers in this game. I think Aaron Rodgers is mad. I think he's pissed off. I also think or do believe that this Patriots defense is susceptible to a 300-400 yard, 3 touchdown, no interception type night. So with that being said, I think Aaron Rodgers have a monster game today. Devontae Adams maybe scored 2 touchdowns. Jimmy Graham probably get a red zone touchdown. I got the Packers by a slim margin, maybe 4 points.
So first off, heads up to Billy, or hats off to Billy for getting us demonetized with his potty mouth over there, cussing up like a sailor.
Well, YouTube lets you get about 2 or 3 cuss words off, and you'll still be good.
Okay, so like the FCC, that's great.
Yeah,
that's your one, Billy. Everybody gets one. The point of that is, so I do think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great game. You know, I know that sounds weird. I just said that they're going to get beat by 17 points, but I think he's going to throw for all the touchdowns he's going to have that they have. I think he's going to throw for a lot of yards because the Patriots. One thing I love that they do, and makes me such a fan, is there's no ego. And Billy talked about it with Tom Brady. There's no ego, and I think that's where it starts. It starts with Bill Belichick. They don't feel the need to say, I'm going to stop what you do best, or I'm not going to let this guy. They know that Aaron Rodgers is going to tear them up. I mean, that's just facts. The Patriots do not have a good passing defense. But they're going to spend all their time, instead of trying to worry about stopping the unstoppable, they're going to worry about how to do what the Rams did last week and make everyone else not name Aaron Rodgers mess up. Make Mike McCarthy call a play that he's not real comfortable with. Make Jones, the running back, carry more than he wants to, and how's he going to do with fatigue and hard hits. Make the receivers try to make a play that they're not comfortable with. Make the defense do things that they're not comfortable with. And that's why I think they're going to have the edge. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to look great out there. It's just how's the other 52 guys going to look, and I think the Patriots are going to take advantage of that because we've admitted that the Packers are not that good of a team. You take away Aaron Rodgers, so I think they're going to let Aaron Rodgers do him, but it's stopping everyone else is going to be their main focus.
Oh yeah, of course. You know that's Bill Belichick, Nick Saban's. That's their MO. You know, we're going to let you get whatever you got over here, and we're going to take away this right here. You know, it's kind of like the reverse opposite of I always kind of use this example when I talk about this stuff. Kind of like the 2011-2012 finals, you know, between the Heat and the Thunder, where they were double teaming LeBron James, but leaving Mike Miller open for the 3, leaving Chalmers open for the 3, leaving Battier open for the 3. And you've seen these guys have 26-point games, 27-point games. Mike Miller, I think he even had a 30-point game in there or something like that. Bill Belichick is going to let Aaron Rodgers go ahead. You're not going to be able to beat us alone. We're gonna do everything else that we're supposed to do, and we should win the game. Now, that could very well happen. I just think that defense is going to let up one more touchdown, you know, than they should have. Especially with Sony Michel being kind of banged up, Gronk is still kind of banged up, so they're going to have to rely on Hogan a lot more. They're going to have to rely on Josh Gordon a lot more. We already know what Edelman can do. James White is going to have to do a little bit more. We know he can. He probably could have been the Super Bowl MVP a few years ago. But I just think in this game, I think the Packers win this. I still got the Patriots in the AFC Championship game, but I think they stumble.
So my last point here, real quick. Matt's metaphor of this conversation to go with my movie thing that I set up. It just came to my mind. You ever see that movie Open Water, Billy? Where they're just
no.
It was actually a really good movie. It was where the two guys the guy and the girl got stranded out in the ocean, and they was afraid they were going to get eaten by a shark. And that movie is actually really good. They did some things. That's how I feel like the Packers are. That it's really a low budget movie that has no business being good at all, but a really good director got a hold of it, and it wasn't bad. Made with low budget, pretty good movie. That's the Packers.
Well, that is true with them trading Jordy the way they did, or letting Jordy go, and Ty Montgomery and HaHa Dix. But that's a story for Tuesday, possibly. But before we get into final game of the week, the Monday night game, we're going to go ahead and jump into the quick pick'em here. Quick pick'em, I should say. We're just going to rattle off the games. You guys give me your picks, maybe a couple word answers, and we'll hammer through these real fast. So for each game, we'll start with Matthew, and Billy, you can follow up here. So the first game we're going to pick is Falcons and Redskins. Matthew, who do you got?
Redskins. They seem to be they're the less exciting team, but they seem to be able to get it done. I'm going to say Redskin in a very non-football score, like 16-12.
Yeah, I got the Redskins as well. They added Ha Clinton Diggs to an already good defense, third best run offense, middle of the road pass defense, so it should help. I got the Redskins.
Battle for first place in the black and blue division. Lions versus Vikings. Matthew, who do you got?
Vikings bounced back. I think the Lions, I think it was smart they got rid of Tate in his last year of his contract, but it's going to take a couple of weeks for that to adjust in that offense, taking away Matt Stafford's best target. So I'm going to go Vikings bounce back here.
I got the Vikings, very slim margin. Seen a report, Stephon Diggs is expected to be out today, so that should hinder that offense a little bit. But I still think the Vikings are the better team. I think they roll today.
All right, moving on to Cleveland here. Kansas City at Cleveland Browns. Matthew, who do you got?
Chiefs in a wild score. I think they're going to put up about 40. I think the Browns are going to find a way to put up 20, but I got Chiefs winning pretty big.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs winning by a lot. Everybody fired today. Well, not everybody, but now you got Greg Williams is the head coach now. You got Kitchens is now the offensive coordinator. How would that work with Baker right now? I think it's just too much going on. Chiefs win by at least 30 probably.
Next game up on the docket is the Jets versus the Dolphins. Matthew.
Dolphins. Dolphins seem to be playing pretty decent against everyone not named New England, so I'm going to go Dolphins here.
Yeah, Dolphins as well. I'm only taking the Dolphins because I don't believe in Sam Darnold. So, Dolphins.
Next up, we got Chicago Bears versus the Buffalo Bills. Matthew, who do you got?
I'm going to go Bears. Buffalo just looks god-awful these days. I think they're going to have to roll with the old Peterman. I know they did potentially sign some guys. It's just going to be a joke. I'm going to show Chicago and Ole Mitch here.
Yeah, I got Chicago. Chicago know what's at stake. They're first place in that NFC North division, one game above the Vikings, obviously with that tie. So I got the Bears. Bills is just I don't know what's going on up there in Buffalo.
And then we got the Chargers versus the Seahawks. Who do you guys got? Matthew.
The Chargers. I'm going to go Chargers. I think they've looked really good against a lot of teams that aren't dominating the league. I'm going to go Chargers here. Seahawks. I think they're going to make it. They're going to make a run here at the end of the season. I think they're going to make this one interesting. Russell Wilson kind of does that, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I go Chargers.
I got Chargers. That was my pick to win that division. I think that don't happen unless they get this one out the way. Prove to 6-2. So I got the Chargers.
And then in a very highly emotional game for some players here, you got the Texans versus the Broncos. Matthew, who do you got?
Give me the Texans. Watson seems to be looking good. I mean, they did lose Fuller to an ACL, but they replaced him with Thomas. And not only did they replace him with Thomas, they took him from the team that was going to play against. I think you got some guys that aren't going to be happy with that. Von Miller, Sanders. If you're Keenum, you can't be real thrilled with losing. I know they're riding their future on Sutton, but I think that's still a ways off. The Broncos do have a nice run game, but that's kind of what the Texans like to stop with J.J. Watt and that group. So I'm going to go Texans here.
Yeah, I got Texans as well. Deshaun Watson seemed to be clicking these last few weeks. The ACL don't seem to be bothering him as much as it was at the beginning of the season. And he's going against Case Keenum. I mean, what more can you ask for?
All righty, guys, and that will do it for the quick pick'em here. So we're going to move on to the final game of Week 9, Monday night game. You got the Titans versus the Dallas Cowboys. Matthew, who do you got in this one and why?
You know, we got two really just bad teams. I mean, I know that Dallas always carries that hype. I feel like to carry on the movie metaphor, Matt, on Sunday here, the Sunday matinee, pun, putting the emphasis on the word Matt and matinee. Yeah, Sunday matinee, that just happened. Let me get refocused.
And the show just derailed.
I know, right? It's what I do. It's what I do. The Cowboys are that movie that everybody gets hyped when they hear is getting made, but it's never good. It's always like, it doesn't fit as much as Halloween came out and it was a really good movie. But it's like those slasher flicks that always get remade. And everybody's like, woo! And then it's just awful. And the Titans are just that boring movie that you're just looking at your friend at the theater. Like, why did they make this movie? They're both just horrible. Now, what I will say is a lot of times when you have two of anything that is equally just equal, good or bad, sometimes the safer one wins, sometimes the more dangerous one wins. In my opinion, though, the Titans are just too safe. They just try to do just the minimum, just the least on offense. They just run up the middle 5 straight times and punt. Yeah, whatever. The Dallas, they actually get some wins because they try to sling it around a little bit. Sometimes it's awful, but sometimes it works. I think when you add Cooper this week, I think there's going to be hype around that. We talked about it. I don't know how great Cooper is going to be overall, but I think anytime you add a new receiver to a pass-happy offense or an offense that is good at one thing and wants to be good at another thing, I think there's a lot of excitement there. So there's going to be early early force to make that work. That could work in the Cowboys' favor or that could work against them. I don't have faith in the Titans here. I'm going to go Cowboys. I think the Cowboys win by a pretty heavy margin here because what's going to happen is they're going to score early with Cooper and some of those other weapons. The Titans aren't going to do anything, and then Ezekiel Elliott's just going to start running. The Titans are then going to get desperate, start dropping back, and that's how you get sacked 11 times. So I'm going to go Cowboys by quite a bit.
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, and I don't know if I'm going more heart over head here. But you said it for all the right reasons. I think that's the reason why the Titans are going to win. They are too safe. I think the Cowboys are going to take a lot of chances today. They're going to try to force feed Amari Cooper. And that's going to get them in a lot of third and longs. And the Cowboys offense is not made for third and longs. They're made for third and short, second and short, hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott, let him do his thing, letting Dak Prescott dink and dunk. So I think they're going to get in a bit of a trouble trying to force feed Amari Cooper too early, and I think that's where the Tennessee Titans are going to make their money. The Dallas Cowboys, I think I could be wrong, but the Dallas Cowboys have this theme where they lose to teams that they probably shouldn't lose to, and they beat the teams that nobody think that they could have beat. I think that continues here. I think the Tennessee Titans come into Jerry World, as they say, and I think that they get a narrow victory over the Cowboys. Marcus Mariota, he's been banged up, that elbow, something like that. He can't feel his hand or something. I think he runs crazy today. I think he racks up about 50 or 60 yards on the ground, some timely key first down runs to extend drives. I got the Titans.
Bill, you make a really good point. That's the exact opposite, but the same thing to every point that I made, and that's a part of it. That's if you try to force feed Cooper and it works, you're going to have a great game. But if it doesn't, it's going to blow up in your face. Now look at the Titans. Man, they've only won 3 games, and the ones that none of them really impressed me except for the Eagles one, which they didn't play it safe. They didn't just rely on a vanilla offense. They went out and actually tried to do things. Corey Davis had a great game that game. You look at how they beat the Texans. It was close, and the only touchdown they really scored came off of a fake punt that caught everyone off guard. They beat Jacksonville, 9-6, and a snore fest that looked impressive at the time, but seeing how Jacksonville's imploded, maybe it wasn't. I just think their wins have come from when they try to be something that apparently they're not. And I don't know if they're going to do that. And I think Mike's dying in the background, so that's going to be awkward. Billy, if your cousin doesn't demonetize the episode, Mike dying probably would.
Yeah, that definitely would.
So, hope you're okay, Mike. I just think that
these darn Ohio Valley allergies, man.
It's something. I just don't think that playing it safe's going to get this done when you don't have that good of a team. You're going to have to change it up. I know that you try to stay away from the read option and everything with Mariota's previous leg injuries. You don't want to bring that back. He's got that hand injury that's he can't really feel the ball completely, but you got to do something. I mean, even if you go back to that Wildcat with Derrick Henry, that gave you a spark. I get, they lost the one close to the Chargers by trying to go for 2-point conversion. I actually really like that. They need to be more of that. And if they bring that attitude mixed with what they played the Eagles, they can win. I just don't see them doing it.
I agree. I just wanted to be different, honestly. I don't have
the
faith.
Cowboys.
Yes, exactly. I would love nothing more than the 15,000 Cowboy fans that I have on Facebook to just not say one word today. Like, it kills me that I have to go on Facebook every Sunday and listen to, how about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? It's really aggravating. I hate the people in Texas because everybody are Cowboy fans and they don't even know why they're Cowboy fans. They're just Cowboy fans because they live in Texas. They don't know a lick of football. It's just, because my great granddad was a Cowboy fan, so I'm gonna be a Cowboys fan. I hate it. I don't have faith in neither one of these teams. To, like, honestly speaking, I don't have faith in the Cowboys. I don't think that they're a good team. I like Ezekiel Elliott. You know, their defense has been played pretty good, but I look at the injury report, and there's going to be a couple guys on that defense that's going to be out today. I think it was David Irvin going to be out. Tavon Austin is also going to be out. So that also furthers the point that they are going to try to force feed Amari Cooper because now you're down another wide receiver. I just think this is the type of game that the Titans can win. You know, not to say that I'm real confident that they are going to win, but this is a game that they probably can sneak into Dallas, where Dallas is probably kind of overlooking them because they thinking about the NFC East race, and I think the Titans could slip in a win here.
Alrighty, guys, and there you have it. That is the Week 9 NFL Pick'ems from Matthew Lau and Billy Hatton himself here. As always, guys, thank you for joining us on every platform that we offer out here. If you are getting any value from this podcast, if you're enjoying it, if you like interacting with us, consider subscribing or following us as well. Be sure to hit those bell icons to get notifications every time we go live. And we'll be live here next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And